Napoleon Busy Facts. Napoleon was born in Corsica on August 15, 1769. His astrological zodiac sign is a Leo. His religion were Christian and Catholic. His first language were Italian and Corsican. He was a second lieutenant in artillery regiment of the French Army, First Consul and the First Empire.
Napoleon's childhood. Napoleon had 7 siblings. He was the fourth and second surviving child of Carlo Bonaparte and his wife Letizia Ramalho. His parents were Italian origin and Corsican. He attended school in mainland France, started learning French around the age of 10. Although he became fluent in French, he spoke with a distinctive Corsican accent and never learned how to spell correctly in French. He was bullied for his accent, birthplace, family's lack of wealth, and inability to speak French quickly. He was excelled at math and geography. He loved reading the concourse of history. He once wrote a romance novel, briefly intended to be a writer.
Now his education. Napoleon attended 5 years at Brienne and a year at Military Academy in Paris, where he graduated early at the age of 16 in September 1785, ranking 42nd in a class of 58. His father died in February 1785 due to stomach cancer, which reduced his income, leaving his family in poor circumstances. Although Napoleon was not the eldest son, he took over the position of the head of the family, continued his education, reading much in particular works on strategy and tactics. He trained to be an artillery officer. Then he became the second lieutenant in the artillery regiment of the French army.
The French Revolution. The French Revolution was a watershed event in modern European history. It began in 1789 and ended in the late 1790s. Napoleon was the captain of the French Revolution Army. He fought wars in Italy, Australia, the Netherlands, Malta, Egypt, and Syria. He was in charge at the age of 30, successfully waged wars against various coalitions of European nations, and expanded his empire. On November 9, 1799, restoration with the leadership reached a fever pitch. Bonaparte staged a coup, abolishing the Directory and appointing himself as the France's first consul. The event marked the end of the French Revolution, the beginning of the Napoleonic era, in which France would come to dominate much of continental Europe. He rapidly rose through the ranks of military during the French Revolution and led several successful campaigns during the Revolutionary Wars. He was ambitious and a skilled military strategist.
Now, Napoleon's achievement. Napoleon was an excellent general. He saved France from the chaos of French revolutions. He also established the Napoleonist code. Then he introduced beneficial reforms in France. Napoleon crowned himself as the first empire of France in 1904. He also centralized the government, reorganized the banking and educational system, supported the art, and improved relations between France and the Pope.
The reason Napoleon became the most influential person in history. Napoleon as a leader, the military careers of Napoleon Bonaparte lasted more than 20 years. He is widely regarded as a military genius and one of the finest commanders in world history. He fought 60 battles and lost only 7, most of these at the end of his career. Napoleon was a hero because of his ability to focus and concentrate on the battlefield. He was extremely successful on the battlefield and never stopped winning.
Hello everyone. I am Zyroni from Xanthic Zoanons, aka Group 1, and today I'm going to tell you guys about one of the most influential person in history, which is Albert Einstein. So this is Albert Einstein, the father of modern physics. some images of Albert Einstein. This is the photoelectric effect, and this is about Albert Einstein a little. He was born on 14 March 1879 in Ulm, Kingdom of Württemberg in the German Empire, and he died in 18 April 1955 when he was aged 76 in Princeton, New Jersey, US. His awards, aka major achievements, are the Banner Medal in 1920, a Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921, THU Medal, which is also 1921, for artists, the member of the Royal Society is also in 1921, and the Copley Medal, which is in 1925, Gold Medal of the Royal Astronomical Society, 1926, Max Planck Medal, 1929, member of the National Academy of Sciences, 1942, and Time Person of the Century in 1999. And this is some images. The first one, this is New Jersey in US. This is the flag of the German Empire. This is Princeton. This is the Max Planck Medal. This is the Barnard Medal. This is the THU Medal, and then the Gold Medal of the Royal Astronomical Society. Yes.
Who is Albert Einstein? Professional experience and area of expertise. This is basically the whole slide. German-born theoretical physics, one of the greatest physicists of all time, known for the general theory of relativity, theory of quantum mechanics, mass energy equivalence, aka E equal mc or square, and his influence of the philosophy of science. Received the 1921 Nobel Prize in Physics of his service to the theoretical physics and especially for his discovery of the law of the photoelectric effect, a pivotal step in the development of quantum theory. The thermal properties of light and the quantum theory of radiation. He worked on two ultimately unsuccessful endeavors. First, objecting that nature does not play dice, and second, devised an infield field theory. And 5. His integral achievement and ordinarity result in Einstein becoming a synonym with genius. As a result, he became increasingly insulated from the mainstream of modern physics.
That is the theory of relativity. This is the E equals mc square building for Albert Einstein doing the physics thing, and this is quantum mechanics. This is the photoelectric effect and modern physics about modern physics.
Childhood schooling of Albert Einstein, born 14 March 1879, Ulm, Kingdom of Württemberg, German Empire, into the family of scholar, Ashkenazi Jews. Parents: Hermann Einstein, a salesman and engineer, and Pauline Koch. Attended the Catholic elementary school in Munich from the age of 5 for 3 years. At the age of 8, he was transferred to the Leopold Gymnasium, known as the Albert Einstein Gymnasium, where he received advanced primary and secondary school education until he left the German Empire 7 years later. In 1895, at the age of 16, Einstein took the entrance examination for the Swiss Federal Polytechnic schools in Zurich, but only obtained exceptional grades in physics and mathematics, so he attended the Algovian Cantonal Schools Gymnasium in Aarau, Switzerland in 1896 to complete his secondary schooling. In January 1896, with his father's approval, Einstein renounced his citizenships in the German kingdoms of Württemberg to avoid military service. In September 1896, he passed the Swiss matured with mostly good grades, including a top grade of season physics and mathematical subjects and the skill of mathematics.
That is Ulam, the city in Kingdom of Wurtemberg, and that is Albert Einstein Gymnasium. That is Argovian Cantonal School, the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School, and Kingdom of Wurtemberg. And this is Bern in Switzerland.
Why is Albert Einstein the most influential person in history? Albert Einstein is arguably the most influential scientist of the 20th century. His general theory of relativity, change, or understanding of space and time become one of the two pillars of modern physics, the other being quantum mechanics. Nobel Prize. Einstein received the 1921 Nobel Prize in Physics, Quantum Theory of Light, a generation and conversion of light with regard to a heuristic point of view, for which he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921 was published. The paper dealt with the photoelectric effect and postulated that light sometimes acts like a stream of particles with discrete energies or quantum.
You want to live a happy life, time is to a goal, not to people or objects.
Here is Sir Einstein quote. The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge-based imagination. Insanity is doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results. A person who never make a mistake, never try anything new. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning.
Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, you will live his whole life believing that it is stupid. Albert Einstein. So, this is the end of the PowerPoint. Thank you everyone for watching. Thanks for watching until the end. And yes, this is the end.
George Washington. George Washington was the first American president, commander of the Continental Army, president of the Constitutional Convention, and farmer. Through these roles, Washington amplified character and leadership. George Washington was a Virginia plantation owner who served as a general and commander-in-chief of the colonial armies during the American Revolutionary War and later became the first president of the United States.
Childhood. George Washington was born at his family plantation, Poppy's Creek in Westmoreland County, Virginia, on February 22, 1732, to Augustine and Marybone, Washington. George's father was a leading planter in the area and served as a justice of the county court. Augustine Washington's first wife, Jane Butler, died in 1729, leaving him with two sons, Lawrence and Augustine Jr., and a daughter, Jane. George was the eldest of Augustine and Mary's 6 children, George, Elizabeth, Samuel, John Augustine, Charles, and Mildred. George Washington's interest. George Washington was interested in farming, keeping livestock, writing, military tactics, and politics. While George Washington was a military general, he had democratic thinking and never abused power.
Why was George Washington important? George Washington was important because he was the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army and led the Revolutionary War to the victory. He was elected as the president of the Constitutional Convention, which created the Constitution of the United States. He was anonymously elected as the first president of the United States.
Why is he the most influential person in history? Few figure looms as large in American history as George Washington. Honesty, he could not tell a lie, we are told. Humility, he was offered an American crown, but turned it down in the name of democracy. A military general and the commander-in-chief of the Continental Armies in the American Revolutionary War. The first president of the United States. He is the first American president of the United States. Okay, this is he said, we should not look back unless it is to derive useful lesson from first era and for the purpose of profiting by daily bought experience. Okay, that's he said. Yeah, teacher, thanks for listening.
Okay.